Right. Hey, and welcome everybody. This is Sherman Ray. This is the Livin in Vegas podcast, where we come to you Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays. Talks about the people, places, the trends, and the events that shape, there we go, the city of Las Vegas. When you think of living in Vegas, think living local, the return of cool. And I'm your host, Sherman Ray. We are back on YouTube, folks. That's right. We're back on YouTube. We want to invite you, if you love this show and you've loved it over the last year or so, now we're the live version of it here on YouTube, and we want to encourage you to go ahead and smash that button right there, that YouTube button right there, and subscribe to our channel. We're going to be live on YouTube from now on, and so we're really excited about being a part of your week. As you know, folks, here in Las Vegas, we've got some tremendous things that are going on, and the show is all about talking to you about all of the people, the places, the trends, the events, some amazing things that are going on. And that's what we're going to be talking about today. So if we want to tell you a little bit about Livin in Vegas magazine, we actually started the magazine about a year ago. And we've put out, I don't know, between Livin in Vegas and Livin Weekly magazine, probably close to 100 magazines, 100 editions. And haven't put out anything in the last couple of months, actually, because we've just been so busy with, we got a lot of requests to do a lot of things. But we'll get back on that, folks, beginning of the year. I'm looking really forward to it. Putting out some fresh, new stuff. Yeah, that's what it's all about. So many of you know that Las Vegas has become what already is the gambling capital of the world. We're the entertainment capital of the world. Now we're the sporting capital of the world. So we're going to talk a little bit more about sports, and we're going to be I know everybody keeps looking at this red badge, especially for those of you folks who are watching the podcast as opposed to just listening to it. So for those of you who are just listening to it, I have my silicone UNLV bracelet on in honor of our UNLV Running Rebels and the UNLV athletic department. I am a UNLV alum and love being a part of the whole Rebel experience. So you'll hear more about that as we continue on with the show. So what's different about the show now? I know a lot of people are asking, well, what's different about the show now? We are going to really invest in YouTube now. We're going to invest in our YouTube presence. And so if you want to keep up with what we're doing, we really encourage you, once again, smash that little subscribe button right there so you can actually keep up with every time that we put an update on the show. You'll get an update on it. Or if you'd like to just email us at info@livininvegas.com. That's info@livininvegas.com. You can actually keep up with all that we do. We send out a newsletter that comes out 3 or 4 times a week. And events, all kinds of cool stuff that's going on. And also you can and if you don't want to do any of that stuff, folks, go to our website at livininvegas.com. That's livininvegas.com. You can check that out. So let's do this. Let's pay a couple of bills here really quick. We'll get back with the show and we'll talk more about living in Vegas. We'll be back in a second. Hi everybody, it's Sherman Ray for Livin in Vegas podcast. Are you a business owner that's looking to get the word out about his product, service, or even just a great message out there? Well, we'd like to give you that opportunity by being a guest on Livin in Vegas podcast. It's super simple. All you got to do is contact us at advertising@livininvegas.com. That's advertising@livininvegas.com, and we'll schedule you for an interview on Livin in Vegas podcast. I'm Sherman Ray for Livin in Vegas podcast, where we talk about the people, the places, the trends, and the events that shape the city of Las Vegas. We'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye. All right, just getting used to our new digs. We're in a new studio now, folks, since we've moved over, and so I'm kind of getting used to the controls here. Okay, let's get that out of the way. And many of you know I have this nervous habit of yawning. Now, if you're listening to us on our podcast, you'll never notice it. But for those of you who are watching me, I do have this nervous habit of yawning, and I don't know why I do that, but that's kind of the way it is. So what I'm going to do now, folks, is I've got this show that's running right now. I want to make sure that we actually, let's see if we got... Let's see if my channel is up on YouTube. And it's funny because once again, this is kind of a new thing we're doing right now, and I want to make sure that we're. And I don't know why I do that. Oh, there we go. So, yeah, looks kind of cool. All right. So, for those of you who are watching us on YouTube, if you would like to be a part of the chat, I can actually see the chat up there on the top, and so don't even hesitate. You can actually chat with us. I'm going to also share this over with our friends over on Facebook, because we told them we would share the show. So I'm going to do that really quick. Check out the show. I'll just write it real quick, folks. Sorry. The show on YouTube. And let's see if they want to watch it. So what we do is we want to make sure people who are watching us on, who want to watch us on YouTube, they can watch us right at the split second, okay? So we just let everybody know that we're actually on YouTube right now, and they can check out the show. So let's get on with what's going on here, folks. So there was a story that I saw early this morning that I wanted to make sure you guys all knew about. There's a guy, evidently, he had life-threatening injuries by riding a go-kart. I know. Really? Is this crazy? Yeah, this is a crazy story. So there's the story. This is Channel 5, Fox 5 News. The Las Vegas Metro says a man suffered life-threatening injuries after a homemade go-kart was involved in a crash Tuesday. This is bad. About 1:39-ish, this guy was driving his go-kart over on Silver Chimes Court and Silver Whisper Avenue. I have no idea where those are at. Those have got to be on the east side of town. Police said that surveillance video, witnesses' statements, and scene evidence indicate that a homemade go-kart was traveling southbound on Silver Chimes Court when the driver failed to stop at the marked stop sign or to negotiate a turn, which means the guy just went, whoa. And what did he do? He ran into a parked SUV. This has got to be bad. So how fast could it have been? So many of you remember as kids, when you probably had a go-kart as a kid, go-karts went, what, all of 5 miles an hour? Maybe 10 at the most. This guy made a homemade go-kart. I would love to find out how fast this guy had to be going for him to have life-threatening injuries. He was taken to Sunrise Hospital Trauma Center. Oh, my gosh. Where he determined his injuries to be life-threatening. This is bad. This is bad juju, folks. This is like no bueno juju. And so, wow. I don't know, man. I wonder sometimes if these folks are just, are they just nuts or what? Yeah, I feel bad for the guy. What else? What else is going on? Oh, this was the story. Now, we've been tracking this story for about a week now because we first started seeing it. Now, many of you know Michelle Fiore. Michelle Fiore is the former assemblywoman, former Las Vegas City, I think she's Ward 6. Ward 6, yeah. I think Ward 6. City council person. She ran for governor. She was also running for treasurer of in 2022, so this last election. And, we thought she was going to win. Really did. Firebrand, she's not done. She's a servant. This lady is just a servant. So she saw an open position to be Justice of the Peace in Pahrump. That's when we last saw the story about her. And I wish she would have given us a call. We would have given her a shout out about that. And so she ran for the open seat, and she won. Unanimous vote. She was replacing Judge Kent Jasperson. who died in August. So by unanimous vote, she is filling that position. So who is Michelle Fiore? I think that begs the question. Who is Michelle Fiore? For those of you who don't know who Michelle Fiore is, she has been around politics here. She came from New York, so she's from New York. So when she came into Vegas, she came in fire blazing. She's a Second Amendment advocate, and she's also two-term. Actually, she's a Nevada Republican committee woman, and she's been around for a long time now. I mean, really, she has been for a little while now. Some of the things that she's gotten involved in probably weren't as high profile, or I shouldn't say high profile, weren't as what's the word for it? As I don't know, as cool as you would want them to be for a person of her stature. She got in a fight with a good friend of mine. Gosh. I can't remember everybody's name. Oh my gosh, Victoria. I was going to say Valerie. That's why. Victoria Seaman got in a fight with her a couple of years ago, and so she is the kind of person that does not back down from a fight. Okay, she's very, very upfront about what she believes in, that kind of stuff, and she will probably do a really good job as a justice of peace out in Pahrump. So now she's the new Justice of Peace. Her new term for Justice of Peace runs through January of 2025. So very cool. So congratulations to Miss Fiore, Mrs. Fiore. Thank you. So here's another story, folks. And I want to remind you, folks, if you're watching this on YouTube, there's a little smash button here, that subscribe button. Subscribe to our channel, and you'll keep up with all the cool stuff that we're doing here on Livin in Vegas, and some of the brands that we're going to be bringing forward. I know, should I say it now? We're going to be bringing forward some brands coming next year. We've been working on this stuff for a long time, and I really want you to, I want you to be the first people to know about it. Okay, so you be the first to know about it, and just because you're watching us here, and it'll be an exclusive thing to our friends here on YouTube. So you check us out, and you'll be the first ones to do it. So Steve Sisolak, many of you know, he's the outgoing governor, thank you Jesus, of the state of Nevada, former county commissioner, former a lot of things, and so he's got the last. I guess he met with his. A group of, smarty pants who basically say, hey, look, if you want to pardon somebody your last couple weeks in jail or in office, these are the people that you can pardon, and this is why we recommend this. Well, Mr. Sisolak, who has had 4 years now to decide on whether or not he's going to pardon or not pardon, went one step further, and he proposed this, and we talked about this last week, that he proposed to not only pardon people, but to commute all sentences for death row offenders. Okay? And sentence them, who have been sentenced to death, to life without the possibility of parole. Oh my gosh. All right, so as you could imagine, this has set off a firestorm. Yes, a firestorm, because people, well, we'll talk about it a little bit. Here, let's take another break, folks, and we'll come back with this. We'll talk a little bit more about why this could probably, this might not be a good idea. We'll talk more about this when we come back. This is Sherman Ray, this is Livin Vegas podcast, where we talk about people, places, trends, and events that shape the city of Las Vegas. We'll be back just a second. Hi, everybody. It's Sherman Ray for Livin in Vegas podcast. Are you a business owner that's looking to get the word out about his product, service, or even just a great message out there? Well, we'd like to give you that opportunity by being a guest on Livin in Vegas podcast. It's super simple. All you've got to do is contact us at advertising@livininvegas.com. That's advertising@livininvegas.com, and we'll schedule you for an interview on Livin in Vegas podcast. I'm Sherman Ray for Livin in Vegas podcast, where we talk about the people, the places, the trends, and the events that shape the city of Las Vegas. We'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye. All right, we are back, folks. This is Sherman Ray. This is the Livin in Vegas podcast. And I want to welcome you all to our show here on YouTube. And if you'd like to check this out, and you're not, you haven't been able to catch the show before, you can always catch the first part of the show on our website at livininvegas.com. That's livininvegas.com. You can check out all the cool stuff we got there. And I go through a lot of things here on the podcast, but we post a lot of things about Las Vegas on our website, so you can always check that out at livininvegas.com. My grandson, I'll tell you something happened this weekend, is my grandson came over because he just became a father. So yes, I'm a great grandpa now. I know. I don't look like it, do I? I mean, most great grandpas look like they're ancient of days. My wife complains about it. She goes, you don't even have any wrinkles. I go, well, yeah, but I got really bad back and bad knees. Teeth are just going crazy. Can't wait till next year. We'll be taking care of all that other stuff. So my grandson comes in. We start talking about football because my grandson and I we're football buddies. I'm his biggest fan, and so when he comes over, we talk about football. We talk about sports. Talk about life and everything else. And he knows about living in Vegas. And he goes, Poppy, you know so much about what's going on in Las Vegas. Oh my gosh, you're like, you know everything about Las Vegas. I go, well, that is kind of my job. I said, yeah, this is kind of what I do. I research Vegas. I know a lot about Vegas. I've been here for since 1963, folks. 63. That's a long time. And in those number of years, I'll tell you right now, I'm probably learning more about Las Vegas in the last 10 years than I've ever known about Vegas. Oh yeah, much more about Las Vegas than I've ever known. And as a result of it, I'm a wealth of knowledge. So this story about Steve Sisolak and him commuting all of the sentences that for people who are sitting on death row, this strikes a chord. So the history of Las Vegas, the history of Nevada, we're battle-born. We were the first state that came out after the Civil War. So we are very, very pro-life. We are very, that's what we are. We're just a very, we buck the trend. So when our sitting governor or outgoing governor says, hey, we're going to commute the sentences for all these people who've killed other people or have done heinous crimes that put them on death row, it strikes a chord. Okay, it really does. And there are advocates for capital punishments and advocates against capital punishment. Either side, they're battling this out now. But I guess here's the thing that rubs people, is that if you've done something to get you on death row, it's very hard. You can understand the consternation, people just being pissed off, that all of a sudden one man can come along and go, you know what? It doesn't matter if you killed my kid or you killed this, you did that, or you did something, rape, murder, pillage, or anything. We're just going to give you life without the possibility of parole. In a state where the death penalty, we are one of the few states that still has the death penalty. And there's a reason for that, because, there's people who probably deserve to be on death row. And so anyways, that's where we're at with this. So this will go down in infamy as one of the biggest questions that will be on people's minds if they hear about it. If you hear about the story. Another story. If you're leaving out of town, and you're right now between 22nd, 25th is the one of the biggest travel months or travel days of the Christmas season, and there's construction, folks, a lot of construction that is going on near the airport. So be advised of that, okay? That's really what we're going to say on this, folks, because there's going to be a lot of it. December 18th through 19th, we're just past that now. There's eastbound traffic exit to the airport connector reduced to one lane. You probably already found that out. 20, but this one will affect you. 19th through the 20th, the 215 eastbound connector to the westbound exit to the airport connector, exit 10. Warm Spring will be closed. And what else is going to be on? There's actually more things that are actually going to be going on throughout the rest of the time. So just be advised of this. If you are going to leave via Harry Reid International, formerly McCarran, it's going to be tough. Okay, so just be very, very careful. And hopefully you've gotten some of your Christmas shopping done. I hope so. How many of you gotten your... I have actually done... this is actually one of the things that my wife gave me. How many? I mean, I know many of you can't see this. See this little box right here? Was formerly this box right here, a little bit bigger box. Many of you probably already know what it is now. They're earbuds. And earbuds are, for people who ride bicycles, probably some of the most important things you can have. And so I want to show you this one. This one's actually pretty cool. So this kind of looks like a little jewel case, doesn't it? It's actually pretty cool. This one is called, I wouldn't tell you who it's called, who the manufacturer of it is. So I've actually got to see how well it works. I used it for the first time this morning. And if for nothing else, the case that it comes in and the box that comes in looks more like jewelry than it does anything else. It's actually very cool. So here's the thing that was very interesting, and I just don't know if I like this. So usually when your earbuds come on, it'll say connected or you're connected or something like that, right? Or it'll beep or whatever. This one had a decided Asian voice to it that said, you are connected. And we all know what's going on right now as far as Asia goes. I shouldn't say Asia, I should say China in particular, is trying to do right now. They're basically trying to take over the world. And so I don't know if it is a good idea now to use anything out of Asia or out of China that is connected to your phone. Okay? Because who knows what they're going to do. So it's something to look into. I don't know if anybody's even noticed that, but these are probably, other than the iPhone itself, your earbuds are probably one of the most saturated pieces of electronic gear we have in America right now. I have 4 sets of earbuds. Three. 2 of them don't work really well. This is my latest one that I've gotten to try to, and I use these more than I use my phone. Okay, I just use my earbuds a lot more than my phone. So I think they're going to probably check into that, find out if there is actually some kind of connection between data acquisition, China, and our earbuds. Just saying. Unemployment rate here in Las Vegas saw a slight rise in November. Went up from, I think, 4.7 to 4.9%, or 4.6 to 4.9. Yeah, it's 4.6 to 4.9. And it's down over 2021. Well, it makes a lot of sense. But it's still just a little bit rise than what it was the month before. So it's something to keep an eye on. The prospects in finding a job here in the state of Nevada are still very high. There's a lot of openings, and you can still get a job pretty easily. Many of you know this already, but I'm going to start work. I'm going to go back to working. I am a pastor right now. I do the magazine, and but I just get bored. I really just get bored throughout the day. I mean, I got a lot of stuff to do anyways, but I'm probably going to start working for the Clark County School District coming next year. As a matter of fact, my principal keeps calling me up. I love him already, and he's so looking forward to working with him as we move forward. Let's do the UNLV story. UNLV men's and women's, they had an annual home invitational, the swimming, backstroke, and the men won. UNLV women placed second in the meet, I believe, or I thought it was third. UNLV men's won the swimming meet, and the women, I thought, came in third. But no, I guess they came in second. Okay, that's cool. We beat Cal Poly. for the men and the women. Who did the women? There was a lot of people on this one. Really, there was a lot of them. So, once again, UNLV is showing that we are not just a one-trick pony. Okay, we're not just a one-trick pony soldier, a la Joe Biden. That we're doing some cool things. We're looking really forward to it. I believe our men's basketball, we lost one game, though. Oh, dang. I watched. I didn't want to report on it because I think we actually did lose a game. So I'm rushing to get to this story. So many of you know about the MSG Sphere, the Madison Square Garden Sphere, that is over off of Spring Mountain Road. It's just over near the Wynn and just north of some shops over there on the east side of Las Vegas Boulevard. That the MSG Sphere, or the Madison Square Garden Sphere, at $2.7 or $17 billion, passes Allegiant Stadium as the costliest Vegas entertainment venue. This is big. Now, this is going to be a big story, folks. I don't know how much we'll be able to go into this story, but many of you have seen this sphere. I'm going to post a picture of it probably Friday. That the sphere has been under construction for a couple of years now, and they are going to be basically what it is. It's a indoor TV. It's a big TV, and they'll be able to project images in this big 360-degree sphere, and it will be a sensory overload. So, video, sound. I don't know if they've got seat warmers, but it's going to be just incredible. And so they had a big meeting, and they said, hey, are we going to make our money back? So the investors are going, hey, are we going to make our money back on this? Because we're spending a lot of money on this. And the people from the MSG said, don't worry about it, guys. We are going to make our money back in spades on this. There's a lot of people who want to be a part of this. I personally would love to be a part of this. I would love to be a part of something like this. This sounds to me like almost like Area 15. It's going to be huge. It's just going to be huge. The problem they're going to have, this is what I think they're going to have a problem with, is parking. That's really the biggest thing. Because just like Allegiant, so Allegiant is at the end of the strip, so it's not as bad. You can get there either coming from California side or come from the city side, but it's still tough to get to. But it's a lot easier to get to than Spring Mountain Road. Spring Mountain Road is about that big. It's always been about that big. It's going to be tough to get in there. Even I believe on the Koval side, you're just going to have a hard time getting in and out of there. That is the only drawback. The big upside of this, though, and for those of you who have been in that area before and know a little bit about the MSG Sphere, is that it only has about one-third. It's only about one-third the capacity of Allegiant Stadium, which means you're not going to get as many people in there. Which means you don't have as many cars. The downside of that, though, is how much are they going to charge for tickets? You're a third the size. You cost almost twice as much to build this thing. And how much are they going to charge to get into every show? I mean, every show is going to be, what, $100 and something bucks. It's going to have to be. So, really, it's going to be a highly... they're going to really focus on the tourists. This is not going to be a place for you and I, folks. For you and I who are here in Las Vegas, this is probably not going to be that place. Okay, I'm just saying it right now. It can't be. And the reason why is because it's going to be too costly. Just like a lot of the shows. A lot of the shows that are on the Strip, you're not going to see them. Unless you get passes or tickets or something like that. Freebies, which I get. I get those. Matter of fact, I could have seen I had a friend of mine who offered me tickets for Whitney Houston, which was yesterday. And they said, hey, Sherman, call me up. We'll get you tickets to Whitney Houston. Yeah. And I want to see Whitney Houston. I don't want to see somebody who's playing Whitney Houston. Okay. Anyways, folks, we're done. I know this is kind of the way the show goes. So I want to encourage you folks, if you've not subscribed to our channel, right there, subscribe to the channel. Go to our website, get the updates, Check us all out, folks. We're on Instagram. We're on Twitter, especially on Instagram and Twitter on the weekends. We talk about the games, everything that goes on the weekend, we're talking about it on the weekends, okay? So check us out on Twitter. Check us out on Instagram. Go to our website at livininvegas.com. And by all means, share this video. Or if you want to hear the podcast, just the podcast itself, folks, we're on Google Podcasts. We're also at Spotify. We're all over the place. We're everywhere. Gosh, there's so much going on. Anyways, this has been Sherman Ray for the Livin in Vegas podcast. Thank you so much for being a part of the show. We'll see you again on Friday when it'll be Rebel Red Friday. Okay, show your colors by wearing red in support of the UNLV Rebels. And we will see you again Friday, 8:30 for the Livin in Vegas podcast. See you later, folks. Bye-bye.